Hi, how's everybody doing? It's Paul from Magpie 24/7 with another episode of toonTALK, the weekly podcast from Magpie 24/7. And over the summer, as I've explained on previous videos, we go to every other week with your host Ian, joined by a guest, and I will fill in the gaps. I will come off the substitute bench, as it were, in between to talk all things Newcastle United in a little bit more depth. And yes, today's episode, World Cup. We'll start off with that one. Who is watching the World Cup at the moment? I must admit, yesterday, look, I had a mad, 10-hour car dash driving around the country with the missus, and it was late when we got back. I think I had about 2 hours sleep. Got back, watched the first half, and I must admit, it was nearly putting me, nearly knocking me out the levels of excitement in the game. Still no Dan Burn. I thought Dan actually might get a run out against Panama. Boy, was I wrong. Still yet to get any minutes or whatnot. Clearly, it's all about the team and the greater collective and stuff like that. But even Jordan Henderson got on. So I was expecting something maybe for Dan Burn, maybe to get a run out or something in one of the group games. It wasn't to be. England stepped it up in the second half. I think they needed to. Panama were there pretty much taking the same, a page out of the same sort of playbook as what Ghana had done before. Deploy the low block, defend for your life, be resolute, be tight at the back, try and limit opportunities. That is what they try to do, and hit on the break. Now, I still maintain, and this isn't a Newcastle Sunderland thing before anybody, because we do have Sunderland fans who watch and comment, quite often comment. It's not a Sunderland Newcastle United thing at all, but Jordan Pickford scares the living shit out of me. When he comes charging out of the goal, he's like some sort of Aborigine smackhead or something like that, Just goes storming out, doesn't seem to have a clue, and it puzzles you to think how he's kept 2 clean sheets in this World Cup so far, because he will get one of these wrong at one time or the other, and it will cost us dearly. Just stop for a quick hydration break. No adverts, of course. Quick hydration break. Hey God, they're shite and all, aren't they? Splitting a game which is in 2 halves into quarters fucks me off. And when I'm sat there literally on 2 hours sleep watching the game, and I'm like, you're playing in shit conditions, you're playing in the rain. It's it's cooler there than it is here, and you're stopping for an hydration break. Fuck me, man. Honestly, the game's gone. FIFA is off its tits, and they can say what they want about it's not commercially driven. Bullshit. Absolute and utter bullshit. It's to keep the American broadcasters happy. That's what they like with sports. And that is what is happening in this instance. Then, came into the second half. You're looking for your big players for England to step up. I don't wholeheartedly agree with the shape and some of the selections, and I've been quite vocal on Magpie 24/7. There is certain players in that squad I wouldn't have took, and there is certainly players who are left at home who I would have taken instead. And again, I think a Lewis Hall, for example, would have been perfect in this type of game. But alas, he's on probably a beach somewhere, relaxing it, and looking forward to next season for Newcastle United. Good for us at the end of the day. Good for us, I suppose. But yeah, the deadlock was finally broken. We got the goal, and as soon as the first one went in, you thought, as long as Pickford doesn't do anything fucking dodgy as shit, we should be okay here. Then obviously Harry Kane gets the second goal, 2-0 up, and yeah, it's pretty much foregone conclusion. He makes some changes, then sees the game out. Still no Dan Burn, but England top the group and now go on to face Congo of all sides. And I say that because of the Newcastle United connection, and it could be Burn versus this. Oh my! Who would have thought this? With the form that he showed and the amount of goals that he scored for Newcastle United over the season, that he would be getting into the knockout rounds of the World Cup, because not everybody has. Scotland, unlucky. Honestly, ex-Newcastle United assistant manager he's gone, hasn't he, Steve Clarke? So Steve Clarke's been shown the door. Yeah, that trophy for beating Haiti 1-0. It's not looking too clever now, is it? But yeah, getting back to England and the Newcastle United connection for the next round. And yeah, you know, we say he scores a brace for Congo. That's his third goal of the tournament, and he is having a absolute merry old time out there. He looks a lot slicker, more mobile. He's getting shots away, and it's going to go into the first thing I really want to discuss from the Newcastle United side of it, because he isn't the only one having a bit of a renaissance over there in the continent of North America. I was just going to say US, but of course it is Mexico and Canada as well. Alanga again. Unbelievable. I've called him a few things over the course of this season. I hold my hands up if I get things wrong. I always do. I always try to correct the record. I have called him the Timo Obertan for most of the season. Timo Obertan scores an absolute... I mean, I was shut down by saying it's probably the best goal of the tournament. It's one of the best goals of the tournament, definitely. It cuts in from out wide, a curler, great goal, and his second goal scoring in back-to-back games. Now he's been given an opportunity. He's taken that opportunity, grasped it with both hands, and let's just hope, and this is the point I want to get to, with Alanga, they have been honking for Newcastle United. They've been given opportunities. I know obviously started with the bad injury, and you've been playing catch-up in the Eddie Howe regime for Newcastle United. It's never a good thing. Never a good thing. You always need a full pre-season. Hence why I'm annoyed as fucking hell about, you know, no signings. But we'll get to the signing situation shortly. Wissa even, and Alanga had a fantastic World Cup so far. I think Sweden have got France next year, and obviously Wissa's got England, so it could be that both of them are out in the next round, the first knockout round of this extended and bloated World Cup. If that's the case, it's good for Newcastle, because obviously we get them back, and it's good for Newcastle as well because they've had such a good World Cup. They've done well for the nations. They've got a little bit of confidence and belief, and I think as fans, we're screaming about for good news. This is definitely good news as far as I'm concerned, that these are in good form, because if they can bottle that up and bring it back to Tyneside, they can't be much worse than they were last season. The only way is up. So if we can have two players playing better football who we invested over £100 million in last summer, happy days, because it will be all these cliches, like having a new signing, because, you know, they've offered so little last year that if we see something from them this year, we'll feel the benefit finally of that massive £100+ million investment that we made in them last summer. So I'm delighted, I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic. There's not many things giving me hope and optimism at the moment. You know, well, yeah, I did have a really good weekend last weekend. It was obviously Father's Day. Got me Father's Day. I've got me Alan Shearer, that youngest daughter, drew me up on the shelves behind us. So yeah, great. Shout out to all the Newcastle United dads out there. Yes, giving the love, the warmth, yes, to all you dads. I wasn't obviously on the podcast, so it's my first opportunity to speak about that. And all the mums, yeah, they rightfully get all the attention for all the other days of the year, but on Father's Day we can give us our fellow dads, Newcastle United dads. I mean, obviously, if you're Newcastle United dad, that is fucking fantastic. If you're a dad of, yeah, you support another club, that's just not so good, and it's on a sliding scale right the way down to Sunderland, right at the bottom. But yes, back to the World Cup. Look, let's hope that both Wissa and Alanga have a great game. It wouldn't do us any harm, I don't think. If Wissa scores against England, look, it's either putting him in the shop window or we get back a much better, improved player. So either which way, it's a winner-winner as far as I'm concerned. I don't think Sweden will get past France. I'd be shocked if they did. But again, can Alanga get another goal, keep the run going, and then come back and play well for Newcastle United? And I was seeing people complain and say, but the problem, Paul, is the manager. Look, at times last season, watching those two play, I never knew. if I did just judge them on what I'd seen, I would have thought, look, have you ever kicked a ball in your life? Do you know about the game and the rules and this, that, and the other? They looked devoid of even the most basics of getting the ball and passing, 2 yards away. So I can't put that level of stuff. When you're seeing Elanga getting the ball and just running it straight out of play, there's tactics, there's management, and then there's the very, very basics. It's like trying to blame Eddie Howe for the fact that, both of them are breathing. He has control, but how much control does he have over certain things? He doesn't have control over breathing, and he doesn't have control about a footballer who's paid a lot of money getting the ball and is literally within 2-3 yards just deciding, oh, I haven't looked where the line is and I've run out. That happened because it was right in front of me at St James's Park, and I was losing my shit about it. I was like, come on, I can take many things, and I'm behind all of the lads all of the time, but come on, you know what I mean? You can't be running a ball out of play like that. And the same way when I said numerous times last season, you're looking like a competition winner. Not putting it about, not being able to sort of move on the pitch or move quick enough. Hopefully, this is the spark that they need. They've got the little mojo back. They've got the little fire inside reset. And they bring what they have learned and what they have done at the World Cup back to St James's Park. And because, to me, the Elanga position, Eddie Howe likes them getting out wide, getting the ball, running, using your pace, cutting in and getting a shot. That was very similar to how we scored for Sweden. And Wissa, you want him to take some shots on. Take some shots on when you're given opportunities. If you don't take a shot, you don't score a goal. If you don't buy the lottery ticket, you don't win the lottery. I haven't won the lottery, don't worry. But, fingers crossed that those two come back and are better for it. I was hoping, moving on to the next bit, that we'd have some transfers to be able to talk about, because after what has happened, we had a terrible, really, transfer window last time round. We left everything to the last minute. Eddie Howe couldn't get the players in that he wanted. We went down the list, and eventually, in a panic mode, we made signings. Those signings didn't work out well, and I think a lot of that is to do with the fact that, as I think Anthony Gordon once said, there's fit, Premier League fit, and fuck me, Eddie Howe fit, because he likes you to run some again. So Eddie Howe has made a point of saying, I would like the signings done early. This isn't the first summer he said this, so that I can integrate them, get them used to our methods, our way, etc. Get them the fitness right. When they haven't, the signings have been made, and we've probably, apart from Malik Chow, they haven't been fantastically great. I think Walter Marder in good runs has done really, really well, but I honestly think if you make those signings earlier, we see more from those players. And now, I've seen this movie once or twice. Transfers, we still haven't made any apart from the backup keeper, who seems a cracking player. Again, from the limited minutes that I've seen from him, from highlights, and I've gone back to watch some of the games that they've been involved in, to watch how he acts and what type of keeper he is. And he looks an exciting find for the medium term. But, we're sitting here now, we're a couple of weeks into the transfer window itself, and we still haven't done enough business. The Muniz thing, it was frustrating and disappointing, but you're going to get knockbacks like that over the window. And as Liverpool showed, if you identify a player quick enough, you give a plan, you speak passionately, you sell the club, the manager gets involved. If all of the things are correct, you can move very, very quickly on a transfer. They did that deal in 24 to 48 hours. Sometimes it feels like we take 24 to 48 weeks to get the same sort of thing. And I can't remember, I said this to Kyle, I can't remember the last time that we competed for a transfer and beat somebody else to it, because we're too slow, or we don't offer the money, or we haggle over the transfer fee. Whatever it may be, we seem very, very slow. And I was hoping that this summer, with Wilson in, with Hopkinson in, and Eddie Howe working in unison, park the Steve Nixon thing wherever he's going in the Championship, with those players in charge, and everything that they said about learning lessons, about not wanting to make the same mistakes, and so on and so forth. I thought this summer before now we'd have a few more signings through the door, and I thought before the players report back, which I think is on the 13th of July, so in about 2 weeks time, I thought we'd have 4 or 5 players at least through the door to strengthen, considering Trippier's left, considering Kraft has left. I know, go easy in the comments about the Kraft, every time I plug him. But, we've lost players. We've lost a lot of money off the wage bill as well. I mean, Target going, there's £100,000 a week. A reported, I must add, £100,000 a week. Trippier on £120,000 a week. Kraft on £60,000 a week. We've made savings. Ramsdale. I want to get that meme now, haven't I? The Office one. But never mind. There's another £100,000 a week we're saving off the wage bill. So we're saving money off the wage bill. We've sold, obviously, Gordon, which I thought was a good start of the summer. Get the players out who needed to go out, bring the money in and reinvest the money before Eddie Howe and the lads, the best of them, were back at the training ground, or the Knox, as it's going to be. I would try to say that with an American accent, even though Knox is South African. Go figure. That's me trying to pronounce stuff or with accents and everything. So it's a strange one. I thought that we'd get the business done nice and early. We haven't. And the names have dried up. The only names that are literally floating about in the social media space is either Fabrizio Romano, for people giving him a bit of a kicking for just making shit up and having agendas and this, that and the other. And obviously there was the whole Dubravka tweet, wasn't there? The only other names that are floating about is players on the way out, and that's frustrating. Can't afford to keep reducing the size of the squad down all the time. We can't afford to keep losing the quality. And we need to give the fans a little bit of hope. You can look, as fans, we don't want to be sitting here thinking about spreadsheets and PSR or FFP or SCR. What we want is a little bit of hope with a couple of signings that we can get our teeth into and just have something to pin our hopes on for next season, that things will get better. But when Gordon was always going to go, the time was right for him and it was good money. I've no problem about that. He's gone to a fantastic club. He'll have a good time over there, no doubt about it. Will their fans? Well, answers on the postcard. I don't particularly think so, but never mind. So there is that. I think that was a good start of the window, personally. Good business to be done. But the Muniz one leaves a bit of egg on your face. And when you consider last season and how many mistakes that we made, transfer-wise and stuff, it hurts, it stings. And we haven't still, even when I thought the Muniz thing went tits up, I thought, look, they will now, to save face, most definitely be getting involved, for transfers coming in very, very quickly. It hasn't happened. There's hardly any names floating out there on social media, dropped by the likes of Craig Hope and stuff, which I think they obviously have an ear at the club. But nothing, absolutely nothing. And a week goes by, and you think next week it's going to be. And a week goes by, nothing and nothing. And I've seen lots of things about losing interest for the ownership and this, that and the other. But look, it wasn't literally more than a couple of weeks ago that Jamie Rubin put a post out saying lessons would be learned. They're determined to get the club to where it needs to be. Last season wasn't acceptable. There's passionate people at the club who are going to be working morning, noon and night to turn it around. So it doesn't sound, bad. Hopkinson comes out, reiterates 2030. At this point, I don't know whether you're just making yourself look like a complete and utter wally, or if you're deluded, or if it's actually time to get serious and things will turn around. I honestly don't know, but I am disappointed, and I just want a couple of signings just so I can think, yeah, we've lost Gordon and we might lose one or two other, like Tonali or potentially even a Livramento, but yeah, look at that new player coming in. Look at these 2 new players coming in. They're great. They're fantastic. That's what I'm, focusing on. I'd feel and think everybody would feel a lot better if they were just spinning more plates, because we were told that they were. But there again, we've been told stuff about the training ground. We've bought the land. Craig Hope, it'll be announced before the end of the season. It'll be announced early part of, the summer. We're told lots of things. The stadium keeps getting drip-fed bits about, news out. We bought Lee's Terrace. We're doing this. Things are progressing. But then they're not really progressing. And it's just frustrating. I think as fans, we just want to see a little bit of, not just words, which sound very great from Hopkinson when he's on Talk Sport and stuff. That sounds fantastic. It's great. The tweet, you know, Jamie Rubin accepting that it's been not good enough and saying that he's going to do something about it. But most of us want to see meat on the bone, you know what I mean? Not just the words, because we have been let down. I think that's safe to say. That's not controversial. I think the trouble with PIF, I don't think they're disinterested. I think they've got so many plates and so many fingers in so many pies that it just takes a lot of constant attention and poking and prodding and this, that and the other. And news just out recently that we're finally looking for stadium finance. This is a project that's been 4-5 years, you know, in the reckoning so far, and we're just getting to the stage where we're putting feelers out about the ways we're going to finance this. So it's a head scratcher. I would like Yasser to come out and just to talk a little bit about Newcastle, and I'd like Wilson to get through in a week 2 transfers, get them done, don't lose them to anybody else, and show that we can get some of our top targets. But actions will speak louder than words, there's no doubt about it. And it's a frustrating time, and I know the World Cup is causing issues and problems, because I honestly think if it wasn't for the World Cup, I think already Trafford's through the door. I think he wants the move, and that's the difference. He'll get his money. We'll pay close to what Man City want. Man City, speaking to some Sheffield Wednesday people that I know, are all over their goalkeeper, so I reckon he goes to Man City. We get Trafford, and it's a completely and utter separate debate. Then, is Trafford the one? He'll only come, he said, if he's guaranteed first choice. You know, he's going to be England's future number one, there's no doubt about it. I liked what he did at Birmingham with the old Sunderland thing. That was great. That was cute. This, that and the other. When we played against him this season, I think he's been really, really good and made some good saves. I think he's an upgrade on Nick Pope, most definitely. Nick Pope's going to go to Ipswich. I've no doubt about it. That's the move that he really, really wants. And I think he's earned that move, to be honest. And it works for all parties. But I have my reservations about Trafford, but he's certainly an upgrade on what we've had previously. So if that's the keeper Eddie Howe wants, get it done, Eddie. The World Cup, it is getting in the way, there's no doubt about it. But I think when England go out, and bearing in mind, I think if we get past Congo, we might have Mexico off the top of my head. That would be a difficult game and a difficult prospect, so it could be that sooner rather than later Trafford is back in England, and then that transfer gets done pretty quickly. An Eddie Howe type player, he's tracked him for a long time. We do tend to track players for a long time before we move for a player, and yeah, it's covered wages wise, because obviously Pope goes out. We've made the savings as well off, you know, the rest of the shenanigans with goalkeepers and stuff like that, with Ramsdale going back to Southampton. Vlachodimos, who's bought another loan in Spain. Why are we not just selling him? It gets me off on a bit of a tangent, but goodness me, man. We were sold an absolute and utter, weren't we? We've done like a kipper with that deal. Really, really were. He's going back off to Sevilla on loan. I hope that we extend his contract by a year, just so that they're forced to pay a fee at the end of this loan. Because we can't keep... I mean, I think we got £4 million for him, you know, last time for a loan fee. We only wanted, I think, 9 or 10 million this time around, but they cannot afford it. So it's going to be another loan with some sort of option in it, so that we get rid of him at the end of next season. It's far from ideal, because we need the money now. We need the money now. We really do. Some people saying that our budget may be small. I hope it fucking isn't, because we've got a lot of work that we need to do it. Man, I tell you. Goalkeeper still remains my number one position. I don't know if anything has changed for you, but I know we need to replace Gordon. I know we're going to have to probably replace Tonali if Tonali goes, which I think he will go. I think he'll go to Spurs for 95 to 100 million pound. I think that might happen next week. I do. It'll be another kick. That's why I want a bit of positivity. I've been trying on the page. I have been trying on the page to put some positive stories up on there for you, just to give you a chink of something. Look at it from a different, you know, lens or perspective, to try and give people a little bit of good news, because the general news that we have to bring, the news off the club, because we cover everything, it's not great, because things aren't happening fantastic for us. So, you know, I put a post up earlier on today about Visser and Alanga. just for a little bit of positivity, for something different. And it's a shame that the club can't think the same way. And like, look, the fans have had a shite season. We've lost Gordon already. Still think it's good business. Tonali may be going, a fan favourite. There's people after, clubs after Bruno as well. We're going to get to Bruno in a minute. And yeah, let's give them a little bit of good news. Let's boost the positivity up. You know, we put season ticket prices up. You know, we launched a shirt with no sponsor on, and the sponsor's paying less technically than what the previous sponsors did. Let's give them a little bit of good news. Let's give them a sign-in. Let's give them a reason to be excited. So fingers crossed we do, because I think Tonali goes in the next week or so. I think Spurs come closer to where we are, rather than saying, will you just reconsider? Because that was a batshit crazy. I was laughing my tits off when I read that. £75 million? No. A couple of days later, yeah. What's that? 75 million is your offer again. Are you taking the piss, or do you like wasting your 3 minutes? Put your phone down. You know, it's mental. It's absolutely and utterly mental. It's Spursy, isn't it? It's Spursy, but I do expect them to make that sign and go through. I still wouldn't be surprised if we lost Livramento. He's only got a slight knock. I think his head may be turned. He's only got 2 years left on his deal, and that's the danger time, and that's when you've either got to sell them or extend the contract. I think from what his agent, which I think is his dad, was saying earlier on in the season, that will only be done at the end of every season. The fact that it hasn't been done already makes me slightly worried. I would like to keep Tino. I think on his day he's absolutely fantastic. It might even be better, you know, at left than right back, but he's still a really good right back. And the way we play, we need good quality attacking quick fullbacks to get up and to provide the width and get the crosses in and stuff, because our midfielders generally don't do that. Talking about 2 years left on the deal, Bruno, lots of interest from Arsenal about him. Also talk about Liverpool entering the fray. They can fuck right off. I'm sick of them, man. Fuck off, Liverpool, man. Leave us alone for a bit. Go and scout your own players. Do what you want, but stop bothering me. Anyway, quick hydration break. That time it was needed. I wasn't taking the piss. It was actually needed. I'm trying to be good and drink water, because the heat is absolutely batshit bonkers. I've left it till late in the day to record this just so it's a bit cooler. But yeah, lots of talk now. I mean, Fabrizio Romano's having an absolute and utter wank fest over trying to knock Newcastle United and our fans at every moment. He is delighted that Arsenal has shown an interest in Bruno. Lee Ryder says no bid made yet, as of yet, for Bruno. Some talk about a stupid offer for, you know, 55, 60 million pound. Again, you're wasting your time. You know, don't come and expect champagne for lemonade money. It ain't gonna happen unless everybody wants to club together and get me a Ferrari. I ain't getting a Ferrari. I'd like one. You know, I like the look of them. Looking's all I get to do, you know. So it's the same sort of thing. Then I've heard talk about an £80 million bid. Not enough for me. He is the glue. He is the DNA. He is the absolute and utter one you can really put your hat on when you're watching Newcastle United. Can he do something? When he was injured, we couldn't do anything. When he's there, he's the glue that bonds the rest of the players together. He's inspirational. He's a leader by example. He's not a shouter, but he's a quality player. Arguably the best player. He's up there with Rob Lee in best midfielders I've ever seen play for Newcastle United. We've seen some great ones over the decades, but Bruno is different gravy. He's having a great World Cup as well, getting assists and stuff. He's in the shop window. We need to be careful. I wouldn't sell him for 80 million. I wouldn't sell him for 100 million pound. If I had to sell between Tonali and Bruno, I would sell Tonali, and I love Tonali to bits. I think he's fantastic. He's an adopted Geordie and everything else like that. But if I had to choose, I would out of the two, I would keep Bruno just because of what he means to the club, what he means to the rest of the players, and I would build from there. If we can get £100 million for Tonali, £69.3 million for Gordon up front, Champions League money from last season, extra revenue from tickets and stuff like that, extra sponsorship that we got through, the prize money, everything else, money that we had because we didn't spend it in January. We were promised that there was money already in the pot. We could have spent it, but we decided to keep our powder dry. So if we put all of these different sources and news about money together, that should be a sizable chunk of wedge. And on top of that, if other players do end up going and leaving us, that will only increase the war chest ever so more. But a war chest is fantastic. I could have a chest full of money here right now. I don't. I wish I did. Yeah, I wish I did. Oh, the joys. Just looking at my council tax bill the other side of this camera, so I'll never have fucking money. No one people wanting it left, right and centre, man. God. But look, it's alright stockpiling the cash, and it's probably earning a couple of pound interest in the bank per month. But that's not going to score you 20 goals a season, and we have lost goals out of this team. Gordon, love him, hate him, whatever. He got us goals, a lot from the penalty spot, I'll give you that. But we need to inject goals back in. We lost him last summer, and his goals, yeah, don't worry, we'll be seeing him very shortly. But we lost his goals from the team. We've lost Gordon's goals from the team. And you're looking at other natural goal scorers who can score a decent amount of goals. And you're looking at Harvey Barnes, Bolton Matter, if he's given the games and not played in defensive midfield or this, that and the other. After that, with Sula will get yards and sods. Murphy will get yards and sods. Alanga could hopefully get us odds and sods, but he got us out last season in the Premier League, did he? So I know he got those goals against Barcelona, but Chow gets you some from defence. Hall will clip in a kick. I'm scraping the barrel. Can you see? I'm scraping away at the barrel. So we need to get it goals. We need somebody. If you've got a goal scorer in your team, like when we had that, you know, him. That 14, yeah. I'm not about previous 14s. I've got a 14 up there. Kit Spire. I was speaking to Kit Spire. Honestly, man, it's bonkers over the weekend. Hopefully, going to be doing something with Kit Spire again. Obviously, I did some stuff with him previously on NFTV days. I just happened to be messaging Kit Spire. He's messaging back. Oh, if I can do anything, feel free. He was sat there in his living room with his Newcastle shirt behind him, just like I've got my Kit Spire shirt there as well. Funny old world, so we'll probably try and get Kit Spire on and do something with Tamuri, Tamur Kit Spire very, very shortly. Lovely bloke. Raji is out when he's playing. I used to love him playing. That's why I got the shirt. I used to like the Raji, unpredictable. That I'll be like, oh, this is class. That's why you do have to have a little bit of a soft spot for Asula. You know, he's not going to get you regular goals, but he'll score some fucking fantastic, absolute screamers, and he'll provide some entertainment. And certainly, Ketspire did that as well. But getting back to the transfer situation, because I don't want to go on for too long in this episode. To be honest, much prefer with Ian with all these analytics. I just totally do this off the cuff, totally and utterly. Say it, your pants. What comes in comes out. I wasn't on about pants, so thoughts coming in. That I just say what I think. It's, you know, I'm too old in the day. I was certainly my ways to change anything or whatnot now. So yeah, hopefully we get some transfer clarity. Hopefully we don't lose too many. I think it could get worse though before it gets better. I think the optics of it look terrible with Tonali going after Gordon. Interest with Bruno. You're always going to get this when you miss out on Europe and your better players are going to be linked away. It's part and parcel of it. Romano will fucking love it. He will, that lad. But yeah, fingers crossed we can get a couple through the door as well. It'll take the pressure off. Everybody will feel a lot more happier, and we can take it from there. But, you know, you're backing Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe's your man. The Bruce Springsteen of management is what Hopkinson said. If he is that, give him the tools to do the job then. Otherwise, it's Hopkinson and Wilson who's responsible. A mechanic can be as good as he wants, but if he hasn't got the right tools, he can't do the job that he's been asked to, you know, perform. So fingers crossed we get transfers, we get a little bit of positive news, and we start thinking a little bit more positively. And it would be nice to get some news, touching up on what I did before. The training ground, why is that gone absolutely nutty quiet? The stadium situation, would love an update now. You know, there's other clubs. Just only 5 minutes ago, we're going to have a new stadium. It's nearly done and dusted. Progress has been made, certainly a bit of progress has been felt. Meanwhile, at Newcastle, we're stuck in this vortex where everything takes so fucking long and it drains the life force out of you. Meanwhile, they come cap in hand for extra money all the time. It's crazy. It really, really is. And yeah, I had before I became a Newcastle United fan. We were talking about when I was 8 or 9, like, you know what I mean, but never mind. Hey God, see, if I had this war chest full of money beside us, I might be able to go and get one of those dodgy fucking hair transplants at Turkey like everybody else got now. You know, I'd be like, yeah, oh, it'd be a lovely sight, would it not? It's my birthday coming up in November. It's a little couple of months, everybody can get together and save up. Fuck me, it's the heat. It's the heat. It really is. It sent me absolutely loopy. But I can't wait to go on holidays and stuff like that. Whilst I'm away, they're playing that bloody friendly, aren't they, up in Scotland? And I'd like to have gone to that one just because of the stadium. I never want to tick off the old list. Pre-season's been confirmed. We've got Gateshead, not the greatest. We've got a behind the closed door friendly, haven't we, against Darlow. Bristol City, yeah, meh. And then we're going to play out in Spain as well. That's a decent game, is it not? At Valencia and stuff. A week training camp out there. And then there's going to be a game at St James's Park as well. Now, definitely think I'll get to the St James's Park one. Rumours about a Spenny versus Newcastle reserves. And as a lad from Spenny originally, I'll probably have to make the pilgrimage back to Spenny to see that game from the away end, obviously, to watch that one. And I'll probably be watching the reserves, which is pretty much what I'm expecting at the Gateshead game. But I won't be paying 25 quid at Spenny when it's 25 quid at Gateshead. But maybe that's just me being tight, and, you know, I haven't got my war chest down here, so, you know, I've got to watch the pennies and pounds and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave it with regards to, let's think that next time I'm back on, which will be not next Monday, but the Monday afterwards, I'm talking about some bloody transfers in Newcastle United. Come on! I'm representing down here in South Yorkshire at the moment. I was representing down, where was I? Down south. Yeah, I was down south near Southampton over the weekend. Down that sort of way. Hampshire, is it? That sort of thing. Still repping Newcastle United training gear on. Quite a few people come up to us and just giving us a bit of a and saying, yeah, we just want to know, we still love you, Geordies, even though you're going through a tough time, which was funny. And I actually saw somebody who followed the page when I was down there. I was like, Northerners, great. A bit of a chat. I'm like, I follow the page, Newcastle United fan. So I was quite happy about that. We're spreading the gospel far and wide on Magpie 24/7 and toonTALK. So yes, Ian will be back next week with another member of the team. I'll be then back the following week. We're going to keep doing that, rotating who is on the podcast right the way through the summer until we get back to the week before the season. Then we're having a big team one. Looking forward to the season, hopefully lots of new players, and then we can talk about where we, you know, are going to predict us to finish, do our season predictions 1 to 20. We've got all that we're planning over the next couple of weeks, and I'm hoping the more signings that we make and we're all feeling a little bit more positive and happier about things, we can maybe talk about better times for Newcastle United. Wouldn't that be fucking great? Positivity. And I'll continue to try and drop little bits of positivity in there on the page, because everywhere else I look, there's some fantastic content creators out there, and the Newcastle United hashtag NUFC. But there's a lot of negativity around, and rightfully so. And people will say you can't polish a turd. You can't, but I am trying to give you a balanced, a little bit of hope, a little bit of something. I don't want to be negative all the time, even though the news is pretty negative as well. So I appreciate your support over the summer with toonTALK. Appreciate your support of Magpie 24/7 as well. And no matter where I see you, always happy to have a chat about Newcastle United. And yeah, I didn't think I'd be having a chat, you know, down on the south coast yesterday, but alas, this is Newcastle United. We seem to be absolutely everywhere, whether it's Morrison's forecourt in Barnsley. Actually, it was a couple of weeks ago. I was chatting to somebody about Newcastle United, or on the south coast as it was yesterday. Always happy to have a bit of a chat about what is going on at Newcastle United, and I hope what is going on in Newcastle United is lots of plates spinning. Easy for me to say, and yeah. hopefully lots of transfer signings as well to be had. Fingers crossed, the money's there. There's no reason why we can't do it. It is still an exciting project. If we are targeting 2030 for some more success and this, that and the other, let's get it done. We don't want another summer like last summer. Coming off the cup victory was fantastic, but then to have a dreadful summer, the whole transfer circus around, you know, number 14 and stuff like that. Late signings coming in, bugger the season up before it even kicked off. Let's do things differently. Let's learn our lessons and come back and have a better campaign next time around. And let's hear from the ownership, not only through words, but a little bit of action. News on the training ground, news on the stadium. And let's also get some exciting players so we can buy these new fancy shirts and put the names and numbers on the back. You may be able to make an absolute killing. Get it done, Newcastle United. I'm back in 2 weeks' time on toonTALK at exactly 5 o'clock or thereabouts. Next week, Ian back with another member of the team talking about the World Cup and hopefully about a few transfers. And in the meantime, take care. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Lots of you have done that recently. Thank you very, very much. In the meantime, take care. Keep it tuned. And I'll speak to you later.
Join us Monday for toonTALK, the Newcastle United podcast from Magpie 24/7.